A tiny island in East Asia is becoming one of the most powerful places in the world. Not because it has the biggest army, not because it has the largest population, but because the future of the global economy increasingly runs through Taiwan. And in the age of artificial intelligence, that matters more than ever. The more the world wants advanced computing, the more it ends up needing this island. Which means Taiwan is not just getting richer, it is getting harder to ignore. And that also makes it more dangerous, because this is no longer just a story about an island, it is a story about a global choke point. Taiwan is small in territory and population compared with the giants around it, yet its influence now reaches far beyond its size. Phones, laptops, data centers, cars, and military systems all depend on chips, and the most advanced chips are the hardest of all to make. That is where Taiwan built an advantage the rest of the world still struggles to match. Over time, the island became the world's most critical hub for advanced chip making, and once global tech companies learned to rely on Taiwan, that dependence kept deepening. This did not happen overnight. It was built step by step, factory by factory, process by process. Taiwan mastered precision, scale, consistency, and trust. And once that machine was in place, the whole world started building on top of it. So long before the AI boom, Taiwan was already essential. If you enjoy clear, high-stakes breakdowns of global power shifts like this, subscribe. But then, the world changed again. Artificial intelligence triggered an enormous new hunger for computing power, and AI does not run on ordinary hardware. It needs vast amounts of advanced chips made at immense scale with extreme precision, which suddenly made Taiwan even more valuable than before, because the one place the world already depended on became even more central in the AI era. Taiwan did not need to invent the AI boom, it only needed to sit at the heart of it, and that is exactly what happened. TSMC became the clearest symbol of this new reality. The company already dominated advanced manufacturing. AI simply increased the value of that dominance. The biggest winners in AI all needed more chips, more capacity, and faster output, and the most advanced nodes became especially important. As chips became smaller and more complex, only a few players could truly keep up. Taiwan was already ahead, so when AI demand exploded, that lead became even more powerful. This is why Taiwan is not just important, it is becoming structurally indispensable. Markets noticed, governments noticed, corporations noticed, because the island was no longer just one supplier among many. It was becoming one of the main pressure points of the modern economy. AI age magnified what Taiwan already did best, and the more the world raced forward, the more Taiwan's position hardened. In April 2026, TSMC raised its forecast again as AI demand stayed extremely strong. Its 3-nanometer chips had already become a much bigger part of revenue. This was not a weak, temporary bounce, it looked like deep structural demand. So Taiwan's rise was no longer just a technology story, it was becoming a power story. Of course, the world can see this dependence, and that is why countries everywhere are trying to build more semiconductor capacity. America is investing, Japan is investing, others are trying to catch up. But building factories is not the same as replacing an ecosystem. Chip making at the frontier depends on far more than a single building. It depends on suppliers, tools, materials, packaging, power, water, logistics, and extraordinary technical discipline. It takes years to train people, refine processes, and reach stable yields. And even when wafers are made, advanced packaging can still become a bottleneck. So the world is trying to diversify, but it cannot do it overnight. That is what makes Taiwan's position so strong right now. Everyone understands the risk, but understanding risk is easier than escaping it. Even TSMC's own expansion abroad shows how hard this ecosystem is to reproduce quickly. Companies want more resilience, but they still keep coming back to Taiwan because the machine is already built there, and the machine still works better there. In moments of booming demand, existing leaders often get stronger, not weaker. So the effort to reduce dependence can actually reveal how deep that dependence still is. That is the paradox of Taiwan's rise. The more the world tries to protect itself, the more it is reminded how exposed it already is. And that is where this story becomes more unsettling, because this indispensable island sits beside one of the world's most dangerous geopolitical flashpoints. Taiwan's economic rise doesn't happen in a calm neighborhood. The same island that powers data centers also sits at the center of strategic rivalry. So every gain in Taiwan's importance also raises the stakes around it. For years, some argued that Taiwan's chip dominance acted as a kind of shield. The idea was simple: the world needs Taiwan too much to let disaster happen there. But real geopolitics is never that simple. Dependence can deter conflict. It can also make the consequences of conflict much worse. The more central Taiwan becomes, the more disruption there could shake the global economy. AI, cloud computing, electronics, and advanced manufacturing would all feel the shock, which means Taiwan's power is now tied to global vulnerability. That is what makes this island so different from ordinary export powers. It doesn't just sell products, it helps keep the system running. And when the world sees that clearly, Taiwan's strategic weight grows again. Not because Taiwan became physically larger, but because its leverage became larger. It now matters more in boardrooms, in markets, and in security planning, which is why Taiwan keeps getting more powerful even as the risks keep rising. Do you think Taiwan's importance makes it safer or even more vulnerable? Let me know in the comments, because the answer to that question may shape the next decade of global power. The clearest proof of Taiwan's rise is that it's already showing up in hard numbers. In April 2026, Taiwan's stock market value moved ahead of the UK's. That's a stunning image for such a small island. Trade numbers also surged as AI-related demand stayed strong. In March, Taiwan's exports jumped more than 60% year-over-year and passed $80 billion. Electronics remained the core engine behind that momentum. This is what it looks like when semiconductor dominance starts lifting an entire national economy. Growth becomes stronger, capital flows in, strategic relevance increases. And because the chip sector is so deeply embedded, its success spreads through the broader system. Suppliers benefit, infrastructure expands, the ecosystem gets even harder to displace, which means Taiwan's power is no longer theoretical. It is visible in money, trade, and industrial gravity. The island has become one of the places where the future is physically manufactured, and in the AI era, that gives Taiwan unusual leverage. So when we say Taiwan is getting more powerful, this is what we mean. Power in the modern world is not only about armies, oil, or territory, it's also about who controls the most critical bottlenecks of advanced technology. And Taiwan now controls one of the most important bottlenecks on Earth. The island sits between today's factories and tomorrow's intelligence. The next phase of computing depends on hardware, and much of that hardware depends on Taiwan. That's why global attention keeps circling back to the island, not because it suddenly appeared, but because the world finally feels how essential it has become. The AI age did not create Taiwan's strengths, it amplified them. Taiwan is becoming more powerful because the world now needs its chip industry more than ever. But the more indispensable Taiwan becomes, the higher the stakes become for everyone else. Subscribe for more deep global stories like this, and watch the next video to see where this power struggle goes next. Because in the new world economy, understanding places like Taiwan means understanding where the future is really being built.